What do Bill Clinton, Michael Jackson, and Stephen Hawking all have in common? They are mentioned numerous times in the Epstein flight logs, some of them for quote-unquote liking them young, talking about women, young girls.
I saw specifically Bill Clinton in multiple articles liking
When
them
you
young.
say flight logs, that means their names was on the registry of taking private flights to Epstein's island?
Correct. And some of them, like
what's
Prince Andrew.
What's a flight log?
Like who comes and goes.
It's
who's
not
on
a
the
script. It's just the ticket?
like who's on, like if you compiled all of the people who have taken a flight to go to the island where Epstein owned the compound.
I don't know
or
if it's like
house
an
or
FAA
whatever.
thing, like
Yeah.
with the private jet, you have to have
You have to know who's flying.
who's coming, and then
Yeah,
Then
you
how
have to
did
know.
you get the quote of what you just said, liking them young?
Well, because some of the official flight log was supposed to be out January 1st, but of course there are some things that are holding it up, and so now they're saying it might not be fully released until the 22nd or beyond of January. But of course, things get leaked. Things get leaked, and the documents are officially unsealed. They just haven't been released.
Redacted, and fully redacted,
So some of the things that we're learning, because we always learn about these things before things are officially released, former President Bill Clinton mentioned more than 50 times in the court filings. 50 times. And according to one of the victims, Johanna Joberg, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, but she was asked specifically about Bill Clinton, said, "Did Jeffrey ever talk to you about Bill Clinton?" And she replied, "He said one time that Clinton likes them young," referring to girls.
Epstein said that.
Yeah, and there is a photo I saw today while they're at some layover in some I don't know, I can't remember what country it was, not in America, with his private jet. It has Bill Clinton sitting there in the airport with some underage girl giving him a massage.
No.
Yeah, just right there.
They were really big into the massages.
And somebody took a picture of it. I mean, the airport didn't seem very busy, but it's just like, I mean,
it's there.
yeah. I mean, that's just,
when did this
that's
come
on
out,
the
the
way
photo?
to Epstein Island. It was just in one of the things today I was
So
reading.
that photo just got released? Or has that been out for a while?
I have not seen that.
It probably is in one of the sealed documents.
But the picture, I think, is one of the girls that is with one of the victims.
And flying back and forth.
Flying back and forth.
If it's proven that Bill Clinton, was well aware and had was involved with underage sex trafficking as a president of the United States, that is a disgrace that I've never even heard about.
Absolutely.
He needs to go to prison.
Absolutely. Also, Michael Jackson and magician David Copperfield are
I've heard.
also on the flight log.
Off the record, I've heard very sketchy.
Well,
He has his own island too.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Copperfield.
Saying off the record into the microphone doesn't count.
Well, I mean, allegedly. How about that? Okay.
allegedly. That's true.
So everyone
Thank
can
you,
hear this
Matt.
off the record.
Or just between you and me, but
right.
that doesn't fly.
Yeah.
Neither one of Michael Jackson or David Copperfield were accused of any wrongdoing, but you will see their names on the flight log when court documents are officially released. Also, Prince Andrew. We know that very famous photo of Prince Andrew with a young, it was Virginia, the one, the one who took this whole thing to court in the first place to expose Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. There's the very famous photo. And I personally believe, this is just one of my own conspiracy theories, that I love the royal palace. I love everything about the royal family, but I believe the crown so disgusted and disappointed and couldn't have the bad press about Prince Andrew and this story so much that they used Harry and Meghan, thrust them into the limelight because
Distraction.
we never heard much about Prince Andrew, and we should have.
Yeah, that's true.
We should have heard a lot. It was
Yeah.
all the same timing, all the same release, all of it lines up.
And they're masters of manipulating the media.
Absolutely.
In the UK, yeah.
Absolutely.
And this is just a partial list.
Yeah,
It's
these
not
are just
all out yet.
No, The documents feature around 150 people who were mentioned in previously redacted parts of the suit against Ghislaine Maxwell. By the way, she's serving 20 years.
20
years.
Well, let me
in
ask
prison.
you: did any of these people that are on the flight log, were they witnesses in court? Did they get subpoenaed to court? Like, did Bill Clinton Did we ever know if Bill Clinton was involved with Maxwell's trial as a witness or because I mean, if he's been there that many times, you would think you would have to be you would be subpoenaed to court over the trial.
I think that's part of the plan here. I think that once isn't. I mean, and we will speak to our official attorney a little bit later on about this because we're also going to talk about
Jimmy Kimmel and Aaron Rodgers,
and Aaron Rodgers, and kind of unwrap that. But I think part of the process here is that all of this was unknown. All of this was a big
even
secret
in the court
and sealed.
cases.
Yes.
Okay, so this did not influence any court case because somehow they got it. How did they get it sealed?
I have no idea. I
thought it was sealed from
works.
the public that was used already in a court case.
I think the idea is now that it will be exposed, is that people are going to raise a lot of red flags and want to then have them go to court.
Yeah,
that's my understanding.
And I know some of the women settled with some of the people they accused, and I mean, I don't know, that's some of the sealing of some of the other information, but yeah, the names just have never been fully released, and I think that will spark new cases. Well, I think it's based on other cases as well.
David Copperfield, who, by the way, is extremely rich. People don't realize how rich he is, but his residency at the has been going on forever in Vegas. I think he's worth over $1 billion. He has, in the past, and this is all allegedly, but you can look it up, in the past, he has odd, weird things that he's been accused of on his own island of like keeping girls on his island and not letting them leave.
I think there's a podcast about that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And he is a little odd, but I used to study magic when I was younger.
Little odd.
So I've been to like 10 David Copperfield shows, and I've slowed him down. I know how he does a lot of his tricks. A lot of the same tricks, a different facade, but that's besides the point. But one day, my wife and I, Carol, went to see David Copperfield because I wanted to show her part of my life, and what I studied was
your passion.
I want to let you in,
Your
girl.
passion.
We went to a David Copperfield show in Norfolk, Virginia. That, kind of where I went to school and where Carol's from. And my ex-girlfriend lives in Norfolk. One that the one with the car, the one we went to Judge Judy with, and all that. That girlfriend. We're just sitting in the audience, and the next thing I know, David Copperfield calls her up on stage, and we watched the entire magic trick. Which
Did he cut her in half?
Carol did.
Which was the main one. It was the main trick. So it was like a long trick of my ex-girlfriend on stage with David Copperfield doing magic, and she disappeared and went to a foreign land, and then she came back and all this other stuff.
Wow.
And I had a sneaking suspicion that possibly she might have went home with him that night. I'm not sure.
Oh,
Maybe.
she's very attractive, right?
Well, according
at
to
the
my
time.
wife, no. But
Of course, yes.
according to most guys.
Yeah, according to anyone with eyeballs, she is.
According to your wife, hell no.
Right.
But it was just
He picked a random hot girl from the audience. Pretty slick move.
Weird.
very coincidental.
Well,
Yeah.
but David Copperfield, remember here, David Copperfield and Michael Jackson are not accused of any wrongdoing on Epstein Island.
I get that, but
So,
David Copperfield
in
has
general,
had accusations in the past about his own private
I'm
island.
not saying
And
that
Michael
he's,
Jackson.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's not a perv in his own right.
Yeah, right, but if you connect the dots, and I'm not saying it's a conspiracy, but maybe David Copperfield saw this Epstein Island, was like, I need one for myself.
I'll do my own.
be.
I got enough money to do my own.
It was his inspiration. Also, whose name will be released is Donald Trump, since we were talking also about former presidents. So Bill Clinton, obviously named more than 50 times. Donald Trump is mentioned several times in the documents. However, no reference has been made to any illicit behavior on his part. But Prince Andrew, obviously, there are alleged testimony that the British prince, quote, put his hand upon my breast. Underage. Executive chairman of Hyatt Hotels, the billionaire Thomas Pritzker, allegedly involved in sexual activities with an Epstein victim. And then also Stephen Hawking.
That's the most odd one to me.
Oh, it
But
gets
what,
odder.
though? It
You
was
ready?
just on the list?
No. Allegedly involved in several orgies.
He was wheelchair bound for
Epstein Island.
most of his life.
Yes.
Like he had to talk through a computer.
Oh, that guy?
Yeah.
And there's a picture that has surfaced of
He's dead now, right?
yes, yeah, he died. Of several people sitting around. It looks like maybe they were on a balcony outside of the home, and they're all sitting around talking. And there's Stephen Hawking in his very I don't know. It's just like this wheelchair is insane. I mean, it has
Oh,
the
yeah.
television screen and the microphone that he speaks into, and all these different control. I mean, it looks futuristic. But there he is sitting there, and now we're learning that he was involved in several.
When you say involved,
allegedly.
I thought that I didn't think he was capable. You
Apparently
think he was
so.
just sitting there?
Apparently, I think it
Guess
must have
if
worked.
You got eyeballs.
Yeah.
I see.
Or I mean, even if you don't have eyeballs, I suppose.
Because I
but
remember Family Guy
Yeah.
would do these things with him and like with like prostitutes and stuff. I'm like, what is this about?
I don't know.
Maybe that the rumors had been out there for that type of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the Trump thing, it was interesting. The part that I read, it was in one of the court documents was that Epstein was like, oh, if we land in New York, he was having problems with one of his planes or whatever. I can call Trump up to use his helicopter. And they asked, well, did Trump ever touch any of the women? He said, I've never heard him being there or touching any of the women.
Mhm.
But that's what
But
we
we'll
know.
see.
That's what we know so far.
Yeah. So all of this is just newly released. Some of the things we knew, like some of the names we knew to expect because we've been hearing about it or we've seen pictures, but it's coming. It's coming.
It is.
Because I saw your name on Epstein's list. What a lousy after Christmas gift. Because your
No kidding.
name's on Epstein's list. You better not tell your wife.
It is amazing how this guy, who's really a nobody except for being very rich, influenced so many powerful people from presidents to major celebrities. And he's not what is he famous for?
Being a master manipulator.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
with celebrities and presidents.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I know.
crazy.
All the
It's-
most powerful people.
it's what happens when you have money and then you're really great at manipulating.
Yeah,
he lied. His whole basis is a lie.
He's a con
Or
artist.
it was, yes.
Basically.
Got into a school he didn't deserve to be in, jobs he had no business being in, all because he was a great liar
Yeah.
and
then-
very charismatic.
And then they say Ghislaine Maxwell, her background is, her father, I believe, was in like the Israeli Secret Service, and they were trained to leverage people through sex. So they would get powerful people, put them in compromising situations sexually, and then say, I own you now.
What does that say about men?
I know.
What does that say
It's
about
terrible.
men?
Well, Ghislaine Maxwell was a part of it, too.
I'm aware, but I'm just saying it's putting men in compromising positions,
Yeah.
knowing they can't control themselves when it comes to sex.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad.
Well, I mean, let's
It's
just look
terrible.
at it
I mean,
right now. I mean, most of the porno is geared for men.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Look at strip clubs and all that stuff.
Yes.
And prostitution stuffs in other countries and brothels. It's all geared towards men because we have a different instinct than women.
Mm-hmm. From the beginning of time.
And it would be nice.
Yeah. I know.
As far as we've come in this world, it
Right.
still comes down to
Oh, yeah.
you want to do it.
And no matter how much you have to lose, it seems like.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
I wish women had the same instinct. Then things would be a lot different. We get along better.
I don't know.
Get along.
Or there used to be like a lot of more cheating on their part.
And a lot of kids.
Yeah, a lot
everywhere.
of kids. A lot of things going
Lot
on.
of
Maybe.
children.
I don't know. All right. But yeah, so we'll keep you up to date on the Epstein. There's a lot more to come out.
Oh, yeah.